Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Championship Leadership Podcast. And today we got Tommy Holstein on the reboot. Actually, we tried this one time before, and we had some technical difficulties, so we're getting it done. But Tommy, he is the owner of Holstein Studio, as well as the Foundverse podcast, straight out of the STL, St. Louis, Missouri. So thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for redoing this thing with me. Appreciate it.
That's right. Thanks for having me, Nate. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so first question, if you remember, I always like to kick us off with is what does championship leadership mean to you when you hear it?
Yeah. So I hope I have the same answer as I had last time. So yeah, man, championship leadership. I love the name, by the way. I think championship leadership, to me, when you combine the two words, it means championing championing leadership in everything you do. And that means, so let's break it down. Championship, that's being the best in whatever you're doing. And leadership is leading other people. So to me, championship leadership means helping other people be the best that they can be, while also being the best that you can be in whatever it is that you or that they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Tell us a little bit about your story, who you are, like where you've come from. How did you get to this place where you kind of went out and started your own company? And then also, and what was the path that led you into, creating the podcast as well? So yeah, just give the listeners a little background on yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Sure, man. I love these origin stories that we all do. I think they're my favorite part of every podcast.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So my origin story. So I graduated college in 2018 from Lindenwood University. So I'm fairly young. In the last 2 years of college, I was working at a startup company in St. Louis. And it was the first time that I was in a company that had, I had creative freedom to express myself however I wanted. We had our own podcast. We did like a daily vlog. So it was the first time that I was familiar with online video, podcasting, those type of mediums. And in my last semester at school, unfortunately, that company shut down. And this happened very suddenly. So just all of a sudden, I was out of a job and my back was against the wall. Last semester in school, I still had school payments to make, all these other bills to pay. And, I'm, 21 years old at the time. So, and I still am not very good with money, but especially back then, man, I had no savings. I had nothing to fall back on. So I was like, okay, what can I do right now to start making money and, start moving in the right direction? And I was like, well, I love doing video. I had done a couple of YouTube videos for myself. And I told myself, I could go to different companies and see if I can shoot, like online commercials for them, just shoot videos for different companies around St. Louis. So that's what I did. So the next several weeks, I spent just cold emailing every business I could find, going to, Chamber of Commerce directories, just searching the internet for any business email that I could find and shooting them an email like, hey, my name's Tommy. I'm a freelance videographer. I'd love to shoot a video for you. And a couple got back to me. Yeah. And after working with several companies in the St. Louis area, I worked with the Darkness Lamp Brewery Haunted Houses. They're the big haunted house here in St. Louis. I worked with St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department doing their lip sync video when that was a viral challenge going around. Yeah. Worked with Safeco Insurance. So several companies. And then what I started realizing, I started realizing that they weren't really getting the results that they wanted to from, just shooting one-off videos. So at the start of 2019, we made a shift. So now Holstein Studios is, we create Facebook video ad campaigns. So ongoing video on a monthly basis, and running targeted ads to a specific target market to increase revenue and brand awareness. And that's kind of where we're going from here. You know, we're in the growth stage. We're in the startup phase, very, very much so. There's 3 of us. We're all, you know, we have this vision of the company that we want to build, and we're moving forward from here. And then, recently we started the Foundverse podcast, and we're interviewing different business owners and leaders right now in the St. Louis area. But, you know, looks like we're going to be expanding from there soon once you're on our show. So
yeah, that's right, man. Yeah. Going global.
That's right.
So yeah, that's awesome. I love, thank you for sharing that story. And it sticks out to me is just the fact that, like, man, yeah, you're young, but you're just willing to, like, get your hands dirty. You don't really know as I think as many entrepreneurs, you're unclear what the path really is going to be or what's really required. You just we typically just know that not sitting around isn't going to get it done, and that there's certain actions that you can do and take.
That's right.
That will help you to get to where you want to go. So I just love that you're like, hey man, I'm just going to, I would love to work with this, and this. And the fact, like, I mean, those are some huge companies. Safeco, like, I was in the insurance business. I was an insurance broker for many years. 2 years ago, some agency. Safeco was one of the main companies. We work with large company, big company. You work with the police department, the haunted house company that you mentioned. I know there's some others that you have as well, but just the fact that you're willing to reach out to these and that you get your foot in the door, that you get this shot, like, what was it about you that made it willing for you to go out and, like, reach out to these companies where I think a lot of people would allow, just, like, really when it boils down to it, it's this fear of, like, rejection that keeps people from taking those steps and taking those actions. Like, was there something that you've always kind of had inside you that you're just gonna, no matter what, you're just gonna give it that shot, or deal with some of that stuff yourself?
Tell you the truth, no. I never really, I don't know if I've always had that in me to always just go for it, when all this started happening, it was the first time that I was truly out of my comfort zone, going to, especially when I first started out. Yeah. I was approaching these companies, and I was, I would say, hey, I want to shoot video for you. I want to work on these projects with you. But I had nothing to show them, man. I had a couple fun YouTube videos that I made with some friends. So yeah, I mean, imposter syndrome is a big thing, right? I think we all, entrepreneurs, but really everyone, feels imposter syndrome, more or less, that we feel like we're just not good enough for, certain accomplishments. Like, oh, could I really do that? Who am I to, shoot this video for this large company? Who am I to act like I'm this big business person? But, and it's all a learning experience, and, when I started going out, it was scary, and it still kind of is going to, approaching these companies like that. But when you do something over and over again, every time it gets less and less daunting.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Like right now, something I'm struggling with, as a creative entrepreneur. So, creatives are really not natural salespeople, right? So something I've been struggling with, lately has been making cold calls, right? So picking up the phone, dialing those numbers, and just making the call. I struggle with that for so long. And honestly, it wasn't until
it's not just creatives, man. That's everyone.
That is, I'll tell you, that's good to hear, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, every time that I pick up the phone, it gets easier and easier. And I think that's just emblematic of everything in life, right? Anything you haven't done yet seems scary until you do it for the first time, and then it gets easier every time.
Yeah. I was just reading a book here yesterday. Actually, Mitch Miller is his name. He's a copywriting online marketing.
Oh yeah. I'm familiar with him.
I'd never heard of him before, but Zach Babcock put me on to him. And, something in his book, he talks a lot about this. But one of the things that just really kind of, you hear something a certain way and it really lands for you. And that's the power in using words and telling stories. But, he talks about basically, as men and women, right? Like it all comes down to survival. Like that's what drives us, as a species. And so for men, it's like, they're constantly figuring out ways to like land the woman, right? And then women are always, and this is a very general,
Sure.
broad stroke, right? But women are constantly looking, to better their appearance so that they can then go get the man that they want, right? And again, it comes back to like, the human race is all about surviving and continuing to reproduce, right? To keep us alive. And so the story he tells is talking about basically just if you're a man and you want to go out and produce, like you should go and approach every single woman that you think is out of your league, or that you might not have ever in your life, to the point where like you don't even care what the outcome is any longer. Like
right.
You do it so many times and you just continue to make that ask and that approach to the point where like know that like there's no level of fear or anxiety or this fear of rejection. And it's like if you can get to that point, like you cold calling will be easy. Like
Right. I mean, at that point, it's a numbers game, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's just all like, a numbers game.
It doesn't even matter. Like you can get yourself to the point where, man, I'm going to make the call no matter what, because I know that if I make so many calls, like I'm going to land the deals, I'm going to land the clients, I'm going to grow the business, and ultimately, like I'm going to put money in my bank account.
Right. Well, that's just a good note on rejection. Overall.
Yeah.
You're not gonna strike gold every time that you pick up the phone or every time you go ask a girl on a date. It's a numbers game. The more you try, the more results you're gonna see. And a lot of people, I think, they'll try something new a couple of times, and if it doesn't work out perfectly, man, they're done.
Yeah.
And the people that are really gonna succeed in life are the ones that are gonna keep going after the first couple of times that they fail. That sixth time, that seventh time, that 100th time might be the one, that changes everything.
It does. And, but too many people just, they're driven by fear and it really keeps them from doing what they need to get where they want to go. So for you, like, I know you started out reaching out to companies to do like one-off videos, and you realize shortly, right, that this is, that's not a fast path to really grow a business and to retain some of these clients that you're getting the one time, and how can we get it part of the world so that they'll, have some continued recurring business with them. So what was that shift for you? I know that's that shift that you're making now and inside of your business, but what brought up that process for you, and how's that going inside your company?
Yeah. So one of the big things that we try to focus internally is just continuous education, right? So I never really pursued education outside of like my coursework in college or high school or whatever. I never picked up a book, right, since like middle school, and not to mention like a nonfiction book, right? But once I started my company, I was like, okay, I need to continue my education. I never took a business course or a marketing course in college. I need to learn this on my own. So I started reading business books, sales books, marketing books, anything I could find. And after reading different books, hearing different podcasts, and learning from, I want to call them mentors. They weren't like direct mentors, but they were mentors in a way. Learning from these authors and these podcast hosts, different ways to run a business. And one of the things that I found that I thought I needed to implement in my business was I needed a way to make recurring revenue. And if I'm getting one-off sales every time, then I'm always chasing that next client. And yeah, I've had a couple clients where I made like more than one video for them. That's not going to happen every time. I want to get them on a recurring schedule. And I also want to bring them results every time that I make a video for them. And I want these to be continuous campaigns. So that's why we started implementing that. Is we need to get them on a, I guess it's not really a subscription model, but subscription models are hot right now for good reason. It's recurring revenue. It's you know what you're going to bring in every month because you're going to get X amount of dollars for X amount of clients. So, you need to hit X clients to make X amount of money. Right. So we just realized that was an important way to actually grow and scale our business to the level that we want to be.
Yeah. Cool, man. So talk to me a little bit about that. This question I love to ask is, who are some of the people that have impacted you, championship leaders? I always say directly or indirectly, because like you said, there's people that we learn from all the time that we've never met.
Right.
John Maxwell's a big one for me. Just I've consumed a lot of his content, his books, his videos. I've seen him speak once or twice. In the leadership space, he's definitely one of those Mount Rushmore type figureheads in that personal development space. But I also have many other people that have, personally as a coach, a mentor, kind of taken me under my wing that I've taken some things from and kind of molded me to who I am today. So, are there one or two people that stick out in your mind for you personally? And then, if so, like, what was it about them that really made them great that maybe you've taken to make you a part of who you are today as a leader?
Yeah, man. Dude, I'll tell you, we got to swap, book ideas after this, because I'd love to get some book recommendations from you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. So right off the bat, and I think most entrepreneurs can agree, especially beginner entrepreneurs, when you're just getting started. But Gary Vaynerchuk obviously has been a huge impact on me and my life. I don't consume as much of his content anymore, because after watching him for like 2 straight years, I got the message. Right.
Yeah, right.
But
he's very consistent in his message.
He is, but that's part of his message too, is totally. Consistency. But yeah, one of the things that Gary Vaynerchuk talks about over and over is, if you want people to see you, it's all about attention. It's all about where people are, and you need to be where people are. And when he makes content, he makes pillar content and he makes micro content, and he pushes this out to all sorts of different platforms. He sees what sticks. He's testing. He's understanding what's working and what's not working. The stuff that's not working, he's scrapping that. The stuff that is working, he's pushing more of that out. And that's a method that we try to implement here. And also just his attitude, his audacity, to just go for it, like his hustle, work. And, that's something that, I'm not 100% on board with. I think you need to hustle, like you need to put in the work, put in the hours, but you shouldn't work yourself to death.
Right.
But it did get me off my ass in the first place. My first year as an entrepreneur, I can't tell you how many weeks there were where it was the first time that I was my own boss. I didn't have anyone telling me what to do. So if I wanted to take a week off and play video games or watch Netflix, I could do that.
Yeah.
And that kind of kicked me into gear from there. Let's see. And then another one that really sticks out to me, one of the first books that I read when transitioning into entrepreneurship was The EMyth by Michael Gerber. Are you familiar with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So it's a good one.
Yeah, it is.
But his the biggest message in that book is when someone becomes an entrepreneur, often it's because they like the craft. They like whatever it is that they do. And that's the technician role. And there's 3 different roles, right? There's the technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur. Is that right?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I read it.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think it's those 3 though. But yeah, so everyone enters entrepreneurship because they are the technician. So me, I entered entrepreneurship as the videographer.
Yeah, you get it. Thing you love the thing.
Yeah. I wanted to do more videography, so I started
the video guy, just
right
editing videos. Yep,
that's right, and that's what I love to do. So I started a business doing video. But what I learned from that book and quickly realized was correct was me spending all my time as the technician. I was neglecting the other two roles, the management roles, managing my time, or the entrepreneur role, looking to the future. What is this business going to be in 5-10 years? You know, if I'm spending all of my time in the business working, doing the videos, doing the editing, I'm not spending any time working on my business. I'm not deciding, like I said, what is this going to be in the future? What is the design of my business? What makes me different from every other video, like freelance videographer out there? And man, that changed everything. I realized that I can't, for the next 10 years, be the one doing the video every time. I can't be editing. I can't be shooting everything. I have to hand that off. I have to hire people to do those roles. And I have to be the visionary. I have to be the head of the company, deciding where it's going, not working in the trenches every day for the next 10 years.
Yeah. So, well, that leads us greatly into, another question I really like to ask guests, entrepreneurs, leaders is like, what is that vision for you right now? Let's just, we look 5 years out, and sometimes people are like, well, I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow versus 5 years, but like, overall vision of like, what's the impact you want to make in what you're doing here today in the future?
Yeah. So we've got two groups that we focus on, right? So first is our clients, and we want to bridge the connection between the company and their audience, and we want to impact businesses in a way where they understand, like, okay, they want a connection with us pushing content just to make a quick sale is not going to make a connection between me and my audience. We want to help them understand that you need to create value for your audience, valuetainment, if you will. So, educational content, entertaining content that people want to consume.
Edutainment.
Edutainment. That's right. So we want to help businesses do that. And a lot of businesses are stuck in older ways of marketing, older ways of getting a message across. And we want to help bridge that gap. Now, the second group, and what I think is arguably more important, is the people that we bring on. So the videographers that we're going to be hiring in the future, or just the different creatives in general. So when we hire copywriters, videographers, editors, if we get, more podcast hosts, if we have different podcasts in the future, we want to create a place where, there's direction in what we do, but we want to give creatives a way to, put their own thumbprint on everything that they do. We don't want to micromanage the creative process because, as I'm a creative at the head of the company. I understand how important it is for creatives to leave their mark on everything that they do. So we want to give a place where we're nurturing creatives, and we want to build a company to where we treat them well enough and we give them such a good opportunity that they want to stay, but train them well enough to where they can leave if they want to.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where we want to be. We want to be working with the best brands, helping them be their best selves, and hiring the best creatives and helping them be their best selves.
Oh, I love that, man. That's great. What, if you could, what are one or two things, as we start to wrap this up, one or two things that you could leave with the listeners that if they were to take and like just implement today, that could help them move forward? Whether that's things you learn, things that you practice on a daily basis inside of your own life and business. Just one or two pieces of info, guiding principles that you use to help the listeners.
Sure. So first one is, if you want to create something, if you want to create a business, a brand, a podcast, you want to be the next top artist on Billboard 200 or whatever it is. If you want to create something, you need to create an audience, okay? And you need to be giving them value. And if you are the company, you need to show yourself. You need to show them who you are. So you can do that through, going live on Facebook. You can make a video. You can make picture posts. You can start a podcast. But you need to be talking with your audience and building a connection with them. This is the first thing that we talk about with our clients is people need to see you. If they don't see you, you don't exist.
Right.
And that applies with anything.
Gary V.
That's right. Man, I try not to just spout everything Gary says, but I watch so much of his stuff that it's just in there now, man.
Makes total sense that that's what you do, and that's what
right.
It's so relevant. It is.
Right. Second would be, man, get out of your comfort zone. Do something that scares you.
Yeah.
Me starting this business was scary, but most recently this podcast. I had it written down. My list of goals was in 6 months, I want to start a podcast. And I was talking with my business partners, and they were like, what's stopping you from doing that right now?
Right.
And I was like, oh, I guess I don't know. I guess I could do it right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want to. And that was just fear talking. Totally. I was afraid of, would guests say no to me? Would they not want to come on my show?
Sure.
Do I know what I'm talking about? Will this work? Will it be successful? Will it be a flop? But very quickly I realized that this is a great thing. And, I've only recorded 6 episodes so far. It's only a month old, but
awesome, man.
Man, it's been so much fun. And I think this is going to be one of the biggest assets for my company because I did something that scared me. And if something scares you, you know that it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%, man. Now that's 2 great pieces of information that people could definitely take, because it's you got to stay relevant. You got to continue to be out there, continue to get your face, your message in front of people. And then the next thing to that is the podcast is a great way to do that. So many people think about doing it, but just for all the reasons you talked about, they put it off. It's the same reason people don't write books, right? They think about writing a book, right, and then they just don't because of, one reason or another. And, but yeah, just ship the thing, write the book, start the podcast, whatever it is that you think.
Do the thing.
You want to do, just go do it. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. You don't have to have it all figured out today. So yeah, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you being here.
I appreciate it.
We'll find out about you, Foundverse podcast, your company and what you got going on. Give us all those details so we can get them linked up.
Yeah, man. So first, go listen to Foundverse. That's like Founder Universe, Foundverse, all one word. You can find it anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, all the things. We interview entrepreneurs, creatives on that show, gives different business tips and advice, hear stories from other entrepreneurs. And then also, if you want to learn more about Foundverse or more about Holstein Studios, you can visit our website at holsteinstudiosllc.com. And Holstein is spelled Holstein. Most people get that wrong. So
yeah. Thank you so much. I can't wait to come onto your show here coming up in a few days, actually.
I'm looking forward to it, Nate. Thank you.
And just appreciate you to be here.
Heck yeah, man. Take care.
You too.